Kathy Hochul, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like she is going to be out there as the governor of New York. A new poll shows that it doesn't look very good. And you got a Trump person coming in, stealing her thunder, Elise Stefanik. A bright woman. Very, very bright woman. Much brighter than Kathy Hochul, but that's not saying much. Kathy Hochul proving she's not so bright when she went to the Mamdani rally just last night in New York, and they're shouting out, tax the rich, and she's all on board until she figures out, oh my gosh, they were saying something that I don't really want to maybe be standing for in light of the way the rest of the state of New York feels. Watch.
Ready to punch and fight for the working people of the city, and that person is Zora Manami.
Oh my gosh, did they not hear themselves? We need a fighter who's going to wake up every day ready to punch, and that guy is Mamdani. He doesn't look like much of a fighter to me, just saying. I mean, I don't know, maybe a brief stint on a wrestling team somewhere. Was it a Bowdoin College that he went to up in Maine? Lucky Bowdoin? I am telling you, this is going to be a disaster if this guy wins, but hopefully he doesn't. In the meantime, Kathy Hochul, she's backtracking now today because somehow she didn't realize what they were saying. No. Kathy, because she lives in her own little small brain, is thinking they're talking about the bills. In New York City, they're talking about the bills. Yeah, Kathy, that makes sense. Watch. Do we have it? Let's try again.
I thought there was...
Oh, maybe not. Anyway, she says, I thought they were talking about the bills. I thought that was it. They were just talking about the bills. They were fired up for the bills. No, Kathy, I know you like the bills. You know what? My husband likes the bills too. He's from Buffalo. You have to like the bills if you're from Buffalo. He also says it builds character. Yeah, it does. Okay, Kathy, we know that you like the bills, but you were in New York City at a Mamdani rally. They're shouting, tax the rich. They're mad at you because you're not taxing enough because you say you're not going to go along with all this. Well, I'll tell you, you are damned if you do and you're damned if you don't, because I'm looking at the polls and they're not so hot now, are they? Here, take a look at this, you guys. Shock poll. Trump loyalist Elise Stefanik, best Kathy Hochul in New York governor's race. Yeah, that's what's going on. I'm telling you, the whole world is going MAGA because the whole world is actually coming back to its senses. And Kathy, you're just going to have to deal with it, okay? So right now we're looking at Elise Stefanik, the former congresswoman from the state of New York, probably winning the governor's seat. She shocked Kathy just a short time ago when she announced that she was going to be running for governor. Now she's shocking her even more because this is an earthquake, okay? You're suddenly going to be looking at a very, they're calling it a purple state here at the Manhattan Institute. These are the guys that did the poll, and they're saying there's this Stefanik lead that's happening statewide. While the Democrats may take New York City, when you look at everything else that's happening, and this gels with everything I've told you about Letitia James, who we're going to get to in a minute, but this is the reality, folks. Letitia James is struggling and suffering in her poll data that we saw as recently as last spring, which was actually quite a while ago, if you think of everything that's happened, including the indictment since then. And now you got this one, Stefanik, who's going to take over for one Kathy Hochul. But you get it, right? Because people aren't happy. They're looking at the crime situation and they're not happy, and they're looking at what MAGA has to offer, and it's a heck of a lot more. So here we go. According to Manhattan Institute, Democrat Governor Kathy Hochul is losing to Republican Elise Stefanik, at least right now, by 1 point. I'm guessing that's going to go up and away among registered voters and points to a 6-point advantage over her lieutenant governor and primary challenger. That would be Anthony Delgado. While more than a year remains, they point out until Election Day in New York. It is pretty amazing, right, that we're looking at the possibility of a Democrat losing to a Republican. New York going red, baby. I love it. Here's some of the data, and you can check it out at Manhattan Institute if you want to find out exactly who they were polling. But they looked at a pretty broad section and tried to allocate for ages, etc. Here were the results. Look at this bar chart. Elise is in red, and she's a point ahead at Kathy Hochul in blue. And I know you're like, okay, it's only a point. But this is big. This is big because I'll tell you why it's big. Because, New York is such a blue state. The idea of a Republican winning there, it's like an earthquake. And when I look at some of the boroughs and what's happened in the boroughs, it's also an earthquake, because you saw, for example, in places like Queens, Donald Trump picked up a lot of votes that he normally wouldn't have picked up. And they don't know what to make of that, you guys. I mean, this is unprecedented territory. The idea that you could have now a Democrat losing to a Republican, and a Trump Republican at that. But I'll tell you, you go outside in New York City and you see Trump signs everywhere. As I mentioned, my husband's from Buffalo, and we'll go up to Lockport, actually, in New York, and we're just like, wow. I mean, the Trump signs are everywhere. And I think that, it's important to kind of get out of that New York City bubble, that Manhattan media bubble, if you would, and you start to look and say, okay, this is the real world, and this is how people feel in the real world, and they really like Donald Trump and what he's doing in the real world. So when Letitia James goes around and says, hey, I want to see police records, and I want to see if you're cooperating with ICE, and if you're cooperating with ICE, then you're in violation of state law. That doesn't sit well with a lot of people in the state of New York, okay? Because in the state of New York, a lot of people want law and order. And they even want it in New York City too, believe it or not, which is why I actually think Mamdani might be more under threat than you think. In fact, we've got some new poll numbers that have suggested that from none other than Polymarket. Polymarket being that trading platform where you can kind of look at this stuff in real time and get a feel for what's what. Because, money talks, as they say, and Mamdani, if he doesn't pull off New York, then wow, you really are seeing the sea change. Granted, it's still going to go to another Democrat, Cuomo, and a Democrat that not many of us have much admiration for, shall we say, but still important to think about this, the context in which this is all happening, because I think it spells trouble for Letitia James as well.